Beating a 2-year-old, that's insane. Yeah. And so not jail, probably shot. He'd be dead. No, you're right.
So, and this discussion is probably way too advanced for Asmongold watchers, and I totally understand if it is so, okay? But racism isn't just treatment of treatment of a particular person, right? It's also the proportion of attention that you give an issue, right? When a white girl is getting raped by a black man, that specific instance is going to get way more attention in comparison to a white guy raping a white woman or a black guy raping a black woman. When one person in the altercation is black and the other person is white, it is oftentimes given way more attention, way more like conservative attention at that as well, right? So, yes, even though the defendant's family might be cringe, right? Even though the defendant himself might have a criminal record, it doesn't really matter. The entire point, right? The entire point of the case for racism is the disproportional attention that's been given. If the aggressor is black and if the victim is white, then yes, it is given disproportionate attention. Okay? And here's the thing. I totally get the other side, right? If you say that this person is a murderer and this person is somebody who killed an innocent person, I might be agreeing with you. I might 100% be agreeing with you. But number one, you shouldn't be focusing on this right now in the grand scheme of things, okay? Like with Trump crashing the economy, indirectly probably killing millions of people, sending people down to El Salvador, innocent people down to El Salvador, that don't deserve it, have no prior criminal record, by the way. Like 90% of the people there have no prior criminal record. Kilmar being questionable on whether he's alive or dead, and only recently confirmed as alive. With all of these things, it's never, ever, ever like given any attention with in regards to the things that Trump do, but instead all the conservative attention is given on this specific killing, right? So, which makes you think, what makes you think, what is the only one consistent quality of everything that the conservatives care about? Well, it's whenever it pertains to race issues, right? Because it makes no sense. If you think about it otherwise, it makes no sense. It makes no sense that conservatives like Asmongold, right, would 100% be willing to give all of their attention to say that black people are violent because black on black violence, or they're willing to talk about the 50% meme, or they're willing to talk about how this person killed another white person in an altercation, or whenever a black man rapes a white woman, right? They love talking about that stuff. But no, they'll never ever talk about how to prevent violent crime. They'll never ever talk about whether or not imprisonment and executions is a bad way to prevent such violent crimes. Instead, what they do is that they'll turn a blind eye to President Trump essentially disappearing people off to El Salvador, right? And then the 9-0 Supreme Court decision, right? I never ever see, I don't think I've heard Asmongold talking about the 9-0 Supreme Court decision, right? And maybe somebody can correct me, maybe I'm wrong, right? But I never hear of Asmongold talking about the 9-0 Supreme Court decision that Trump has overturned again, right? If you talk about Trump issues and if you talk about this issues, that's totally understandable now because it seems as if you are talking about every issue, right? However, if you only give a select group of issues attention, but you completely ignore the other side, yeah, I'm going to think that it is pretty racist. So, yeah.
If he had done this pre civil rights, even half of this, he'd be fucking dead. So the entire idea, this is a man with a rap sheet that this is like, I mean, bro, this is insane. Who does this? And this is only in 10 years. Right? This is only 10 years. Like he's not 60 years old. He's got I think he's got that dog in him, man. I feel like, I mean, do y'all really think that it's stopped? Like it's over? Like now he's just not going to do anything bad anymore? I don't know about that. I feel like he's going to do it again. Like father, like son. It's not even his dad. No, bro, this is the problem. It's not even his dad. This is just a grifter, that a literal leech parasite that has attached himself to this situation in order to farm sympathy. That's what it is. It's an activist minister. Yeah, he's a minister. Well, where in the fuck?
Now, I don't know about you, okay? It's so funny, right? Because if he is trying to grift attention and money off of this situation, it's only because conservatives gave it this much attention in the first place. Because by the way, the left wing was not talking about this, okay? Left wingers are definitely not talking about this issue, all right? It's only conservatives that are talking about this issue. Considering how conservatives are talking about this issue, all right? The only reason he's been getting this much money and attention, all right, even if he was a grifter, is because of the right wing, okay? It's because the right wing is willing to give somebody that kind of negative attention. If you give somebody negative attention, that is still attention, and you can profit off of that, right?
Where in the fucking Bible does it just say you should steal a car? Like beating up a toddler. I'm pretty sure they didn't even do that in the Old Testament. Well, they probably.
Because it's not like some kind of major injustice has happened, right? It's not some kind of ginormous injustice has happened to the situation, right? This guy is still going to get prosecuted. He's probably still going to be sentenced. And yeah, like it's not like some injustice is coming, right?
We did do that in the Old Testament, okay? But they probably didn't do it all the time. And like in retrospect, it's probably seen as like kind of a bad thing. And so anyway, yes, it's crazy. Yeah, page 6. Yeah, I could see that happening. Okay, but what if the toddler was crying and being annoying and shit? I mean, that's the thing. We never got to. We always hear the toddler side of things, but we never get to hear his side of things.
They want the Democrats to take the bait. Well, this time they didn't take the bait. I don't think I've seen any Democrat that's talking about this issue, because guess what? It is like the most obvious fucking bait ever. It's actually the most obvious fucking bait. Like it just is, right? Like how is this not the most positive fucking bait? I'm sorry, the most obvious bait.
Right? That's like more, you know, I guess that's just more white supremacy, isn't it?
But nobody is biting.
Anyways.
Nobody is, because everybody knows what's going on. Everybody is like knows what's going on, okay? Yeah. And there's much more pressing issues, like the economy, you know, something the conservatives purport to care about, but in actuality do not actually care about.
So let's go back over, and there's another post about him making. So basically, the father of the boy who was killed, Austin Metcalf, he's the father of the kid that was stabbed, went to the press conference for the other family.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay?
Actions speak louder than words. I'm listening.
What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate. Yet
there's no way. Who is this guy? This is crazy.
Bigotry and yet racism. We have conservative.
I can almost respect how delusional he is. You know, like, because this guy is so batshit fucking insane that I'm like, wow, this is impressive that somebody could even be this nuts.
Operative.
So again, I'll say I won't defend this defendant family, okay? Because I know nothing about them. They could actually be grifters for all I care, right? I know nothing about these people, so I won't defend them. However, I will say this, okay? Yes, it's being given a disproportionate amount of attention compared to other issues that have similar situations happening, but it just so happens that the races are different. And in addition, yes, it almost does seem as if this is some kind of issue that's been propped up to the front page because right now Trump is doing crazy shit and they need a distraction to outrage over. Republicans and conservatives don't like being put on the defensive. So people like Asmongold help push out these kinds of stories because they don't like being put on the defensive when it comes to Trump, right? They don't like being put on the defensive. So they need to be aggressive. They need to be aggressive. Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. So yes, it is about race, actually, right? The person, in this case, who's delusional is none other than our good friend Asmongold. He is the one that's delusional, right? He is the one that's not seeing the situation for what it is. He is only seeing the trees. He's not seeing the forest. The trees is this specific situation, the stabbing, and the people revolving around the stabbing. The forest, the consistency around cases like this, and how conservatives are using this as a distraction. That's the forest, all right?
That have been posting non-stop about this case.
So he's talking about it being political, right? And so I want to go ahead and play the interview, right? Come on, Anthony.
Is Asmongold paid off by Republicans? He doesn't need to be paid off by Republicans. Whenever he streams about this stuff, he gets paid a fuck ton of money to stream about this stuff through donos, through ad revenue, okay? I'm pretty sure according to Destiny, he makes $1 million a month. He makes $1 million a month off of stuff like this. So take that in for just a second, all right? Because people like Asmongold has every incentive to profit off of audience capture. If a bunch of Russian bots came into his server and into his chat trying to convince him to cover a particular topic, who is Asmongold to say no? Why does Asmongold have to figure out whether or not they're Russian bots or not? All the Russians know is that if they push a topic to Asmongold, they know for sure he'll cover them because it's conservative content, because it's conservative rage bait. That's what it is, right? So Asmongold, even without receiving a Kremlin paycheck, he's still technically receiving a paycheck off of the same content, right?
Dad interview. Hopefully this is what pops up and it's okay. But we're gonna go and see this here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this is the video here of what happened, and just going back and looking at it.
My hope was to bring awareness,
Yeah.
so this tragedy doesn't happen to another family.
Right. So this is the guy. A pathetic cuck of a father. I mean, I don't think he's being a cuck. I think he's a man who's trying to act in good faith and he's trying to do the right thing.
So I'm pretty sure the father of the victim, okay, like the very father of the victim, says that he doesn't want this to be a political issue that is weaponized by Republicans. I'm pretty sure this is what he said. All right. But yeah, let's watch.
I think he's trying to do the right thing. And it just makes him look bad because everybody else isn't.
Okay, so Mr. Metcalf, it's JFF and then METCALF. You are Austin's father.
Yes, sir.
Easy question to start with. It's probably a tough one to answer, but how have the last 24 hours been for you and for your family and for Hunter?
That's three questions. So for me, it's not real yet. It hasn't sunk in. I'm just.
I don't want to watch the whole thing, honestly, but like the guy, I don't
Okay.
know if does anybody have a timestamp for where he talked about like whether it was a race issue or not? So this is what happened. He got swatted yesterday. So after this
What?
interview where he repeatedly said this isn't racism, etc., right? And he's like not really trying to like push any hate or anything like that. The reward that he got from this is that he got swatted. So here we go. Let's take a look at it.
Now to new developments on that dead
Yeah, exactly. It's not about sides, it's about stoking racial tensions. And I think this father of the victim recognizes that. I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he's stupid. He's trying to keep a clear mind about this. He knows exactly what's going on, I think. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. All right. But so far, it seems like he's not trying to make it a racial issue, right? Because guess what? If you make it a racial issue, you also take away autonomy and decision making on the stabber's end, right? If you make it a racial issue, does that mean that the person can't be blamed anymore because it's inherently something that's racial, right? So in a way, he is trying to seek justice. But yes, he wants to give agency to the stabber. Yeah, it's almost as if that's the case, isn't it? But yeah, it's so fucking disgusting how people like Asmongold and people like other conservatives would just completely disregard the stabber victim's father, right? I mean, it's one thing if the victim's father decided to weaponize this like that lady at the White House, but this father is different, right? This father doesn't want to weaponize it. And then people like Asmongold and other conservatives love to weaponize it. They want to. They want to stoke racial tensions. They want to. They profit off of it. Remember, Asmongold makes $1 million a month off of this. It's disgusting. It's absolutely hideous. It's like one of the worst sides of humanity to profit off of something like this. Like, actually. Okay? This is totally about benefiting off of the race card. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Just off of his YouTube. Yeah, exactly. He probably makes more than $1 million a month off of YouTube. All right? Like, he probably makes like 2 million, 3 million maybe. Like, if you factor in donations and viewership on Twitch. But yeah. Okay. Like, dude. Anyway, like, we'll watch a little bit more. But like, damn, you know, like, again, Asmongold is just completely trying to stoke racial tensions for profit. Yeah.
stabbing